Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And yes, this is a driving book vlog and I'm very excited to do this because I haven't actually done a book vlog in a while. I've had two booktube videos that I've been wanting to film this week. I wanted to film a video showing all of my graphic novels and new ones that I've bought. And I also wanted to do a video talking about all of the audiobooks that I bought recently because I have purchased quite a few audio books recently because they were having a sale. And then I bought some other books that I was wanting that were not part of the sale. So I think I have like 10 or 15 books that I have purchased from Audible that I wanted to do in an Audible haul. So I was gonna do that, and honestly, well, I got a comment on my vlog. Somebody said, I think it was Monet, said, you haven't done a book vlog in a while, and I hadn't, and part of the reason was that most of last week I was reading Hell in the Heartland by Jax Miller, which is the February book for a true crime book club. So, I mean, there wasn't really a lot for me to say if I was, you know, and I mean, I can vlog and talk about whatever to do with books, I guess, but, and the funny thing is that whenever I get into my vlog at night, I'll start talking about books, and like a half an hour goes by, and I'm like, but during the day, I'm thinking to myself, I don't really have anything to vlog about with books because I've been reading the same book. But then when I get into my vlog, I start talking about all kinds of book stuff, and I'm like, well, I guess I really did have something to talk about. So I thought today we'll just turn on the camera and see where this goes. Anyway, I finally finished Hell in the Heartland by Jax Miller. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastically done. It was a very sad but intriguing story. But it was beautifully well written, I thought. Just absolutely beautifully well written. And it made me feel like I was literally with her the entire time that she was on this investigative journey. And I think actually, well, like Mel and I were talking about it, and Mel said, Mel is my book club partner, if you don't know that by now. How would you not know that? Her Instagram is linked below. Go check her out. But anyway, I was saying to her something to the effect that, you know, the book takes place in Oklahoma, most of it during the winter, and when I was reading it, I literally felt like I was in Oklahoma during the winter. And Mel was like, yeah, and it's like she takes you along the journey with her as she's investigating the case, which is so true. I have to say, out of all of the books that we have read in 2.5 years, or two years and 2 months of a true crime book club, this has been one of the books that pulled at my heart the most, and I found to be the most intriguing. What is pulling at my ear over here? It's driving me crazy. Pulling at my heart and pulling at my ear. I didn't know anything about this case. I really enjoy going into true crime books that I don't know the case or much about the case, and I didn't know anything about this Ashley Freeman, Laura Bible case. These two girls that went missing after Ashley Freeman's parents, Danny and Kathy Freeman, were shot, killed, and burned in the trailer that they lived in. I didn't know anything about this case. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know anything about it. So the whole thing from the beginning to end was very interesting to me. I thought Jax Miller did an amazing job of painting each person so specifically different that you really got an impression of who they were as a person. And I have to just say that she has been so amazing. She has like retweeted Mel and I. She has like put our stuff on Instagram. She's been very active in DMs. Like if I, you know, say something to her or ask her a question or whatever, she's been extremely active. So if you are part of the book club and you want to send her a little message, I'm sure that she would respond. She is just very, very cool. So, yeah, I loved the book. I thought it was fantastic. And right before that, I had finished The Project by Courtney Summers, which was Peter's book club book for the month. And I'm going to do a review. I don't want to say a whole lot about that because I'm going to do a review when I announce the March book, which I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. So if anybody has suggestions for the March book, please put it in the comment section below. I have like 2 books that I'm thinking about possibly doing for the March book, but we'll see. So yeah, I finished that book. Bunny, who is part of the book club, hey Bunny, had informed me that there was a 4-part series called Hell in the Heartland that's with Jax Miller, and it's basically just the book turned into a documentary. And I think originally I said it was on Amazon Prime. It's on HBO Max. It is so fantastically done, you guys. It is so good. On Sunday night, Alex had gotten a hotel room for us for Valentine's Day, and so he had to go to bed early because he had to work the next day. So I had my iPad, and I was like laying in bed next to him and just like looking out over, you know, we were getting snow that morning and whatever. That was when the snow started. And I was just like looking out over the street, and I could see the snow, and I'm like watching this documentary, and I got really scared. Like, the documentary is fantastic. But I decided last night, because you know, we're not going to do the book club until next week or the week after. I need to talk to Mel and confirm when we're going to do it. Because of that, I don't want to watch the last 2 episodes until like the day before, because I want it to be fresh in my mind of the case. And since I read the book so early this time, because usually I wait till kind of the end, you know, to read the book. Since I read the book so early this time, I want to have it fresh in my mind, like stuff about the case and how it ends and whatever. The documentary is just really, really close to the book. It's really well done. And Jax Miller's in the whole thing, so if you want to see what she's all about, you can go check her out. So yeah, so, and then, then what happened was, as a result of me like reading about that case and watching that case, it really started to make me think about the Delphi case here in Indiana, which is like, I'm like probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but probably not that far. Probably an hour from Delphi, Indiana, which is where Libby German, and I think their names are Libby German and Abby Williams, were murdered. And I think they were 13 and 14. And the case is like still cold case. They haven't solved it. There's just a documentary that came out, a 2-part documentary based on a podcast called Down the Hill, which is what, like, they have a video, like sound footage of this guy saying to the 2 guys down the hill, which is what it's based on. I watched the whole thing last night. It's 2 parts. It's very, very well done. It's interesting living in Indiana, what you hear here and what you see like on like YouTube videos and whatever, because here there is a lot of speculation in Indiana that it has something to do with somebody that is very close to the situation. And that's all I'm going to say. But there's been a lot of speculation about that in Indiana. I mean, you hear about it. Like, the case comes up a lot when you're like talking to people, because it's so close to us, you know? And, there's a lot that's been said about that case. I don't know. So, but anyway, so I kind of fell down the rabbit hole with that. And, so anyway, I didn't know what book I wanted to start next. I had, you know, I had read, The Project. Well, first I had read, what do you call it? Shoot. The Devil's Knot, which Mel refers to as the Devil's Headache because it was so long. But I read The Devil's Knot by Mara Levitt, which was about the West Memphis Three. Then I read Damien Eccles' book, Life After Death, which he is one of the West Memphis Three. That book was like sad and dark. I mean, at the end it was kind of uplifting, I guess, but the majority of the book was sad and, you know, dark, and so like the Devil's Knot was definitely, you know, sad and dark. And then I read The Project by Courtney Summers, which is about a cult. And that was, again, difficult to read. And Saint X was mixed in there somewhere, which that was a hard read as well. And then I read this Hell in the Heartland. So it was like I had read 4 or 5 books that were really, really hard to read. And honestly, I could kind of feel it pushing me into like a reading slump a little bit, because I was almost kind of like, I don't know that I really want to read anything else right now, because this is just all kind of like making me sad and whatever. And so then I was like, well, I think I need to read a good cozy mystery. But when I went into my books, my audiobooks, to look and see what to read next, what cozy mystery, like people recommend series to me a lot, like cozy mystery series. And I'll like look at the first book and it's like nothing that I would be interested in. Or at least I don't think it would be, you know? And there's been, you know, a couple series that I've looked at and, you know, like downloaded, and then I'm like, eh. So I was gonna read the second Janet Ivanovich book, but it doesn't show up for some reason. I downloaded it, and I purchased it and downloaded it, but it doesn't show up in my library and Audible. But when I search it on Audible, it says I have it. So, but I just don't see it when I go through there. And the Janet DeLeon book, her next book is already out, but the Audible version won't come out for a couple months, because she said she publishes her books right when they're done. I think she self-publishes. She said she publishes her books right when they're done, and then the audio version comes out a couple months later. And I love Cassandra Campbell's narration of her book, so I'm just gonna wait until the Audible version comes out. So I was like, gonna read this Alison Brooks book where I had started the series, The Haunted Library, but when I went back and looked, I only gave it 3.5 stars. I was like, well, maybe I'm not really into it. So I was looking through my books and I was like, oh, I don't know what to read. I don't know what to read. And one of the books that I had recently bought was Elsewhere by Dean Koontz. And I used to love Dean Koontz back in the day. He was one of the writers. I remember my ex, for some trip we went on, he bought like 2 books, like The Husband and something else, and I can just remember tearing through those books. It was like a birthday trip for me, and I remember tearing through those books on the beach. I loved them so much. And so anyway, I was like, well, I haven't read a Dean Koontz book in a really long time, so let's try this. So I downloaded this book. Well, right from the get-go, it was about parallel universes and time travel. I got like 40 minutes into the first, like the 40 minutes into it, and I was like, well, this is pretty interesting, this is pretty good. And then it got into all of this kind of weird stuff about quantum physics and parallel universes, and I was like, you know, I don't think this is really what I'm in the mood to read. Like, I think for me, reading slumps happen when I'm like in the mood to read a certain kind of book, and then I start reading something that doesn't match that, if that makes sense. So anyway, I pushed through this Elsewhere last night, and I was like, no, you're gonna listen to this book. You started this book, you bought this book. I actually got it for $5 on Audible, and it just came out in, I think, October of 2020. You guys, let me tell you how good this book is, okay? I mean, I got past like the first hour and 10 minutes, and like the first 40 minutes are interesting, but there was like a period in there where it just kind of like lulled a little bit. Let me just tell you how good this book gets, okay? Literally after like the first hour on Audible, it is so action-packed. It was not what I was expecting whatsoever. It is so good. It's about this father and daughter, and they're given this is kind of right out of the gate, so I'm not ruining it. They're given this device that they don't know what it does, and they think the person that gave it to them is kind of like crazy and unstable, so they don't trust him. And then at the same time, there's like people that are looking for that guy, and it's just, I mean, it's kind of classic Dean Koontz, but at the same time, like, the storyline is so fantastic. I literally last night I had to push myself to go to bed. I was like, because I listened to it after I watched the Delphi documentary. I was like, Peter, you need to go to bed. Like, you have stayed up way too late. I think it was after 6 a.m. when I went to bed. So, if you're looking for a new book that you cannot put down, I'm telling you, Elsewhere by Dean Koontz is one of the best books ever. You know what? I get actually asked a lot, like, what's a book that I should read that I cannot stop reading? Another vacation book that I took with me, I read The Taking by Dean Koontz. I always forget what it's called, but somebody recommended it to me not too long ago. I read The Taking by Dean Koontz. I actually might reread that, because I really enjoyed that book, and I don't remember tons about it. I think I might reread that book, actually. I could not put that. I like to listen to the audio version, actually, because I read it in paperback the first time. And I was in St. Lucia when I read it. I can see myself sitting there reading it. We were in this like room that had no air conditioning, and I was like, I can remember I stayed up all night long because that was like the only time I could get any coolness. And we had this like one little fan. Anyway, that was such a great book, and it's about aliens. So I think I might read that. Anyway, I like books about aliens, so if you have any alien book suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. And also let me know what you think that I should read for the March book, if you have any suggestions. And I think that's it. I think I'm gonna get off here now, and I'm running to the post office, and that's about my life. So I'm gonna go home after that and upload these videos, and then I just did a review video of the Shamrock tea. And then I'm going to film another video or two once I get home, and then have a relaxing evening. So anyway, I love you guys. What are you reading? Put it in the comment section below. I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.